Welcome to Farming Smarter. We're here at the hemp seeding rate times seeding date plot. So these are some plots we've been looking to do for quite a while now. We've done some seeding date trials and some seeding rate trials, but never the two together. So some really interesting things to see. We've blocked the first section here is Salacia, a big tall biomass fiber type variety. And then beside it, we've got Finola, which is our grain variety. And so I'm going to walk you through the plots and show you the different factors. We've got seed rates. We did 100 seeds per meter squared, which is a really low rate, 250 seeds per meter squared, which is about that 30 pounds per acre, kind of that ideal target rate, and then 400 seeds per meter squared. And then we've got 3 seeding dates. We've got beginning of April or beginning of May, and then we've got the May long weekend and just into the first week of June. So those are our 3 seeding dates. So these first couple plots here look pretty interesting. This is Salacia at our early date at the beginning of May. We've only got 100 seeds per meter squared, so you can see they're pretty spaced out. This was seeded early May, so the stalks are already getting really thick. And we took measurements last year and saw that I think both the date and definitely the seeding density affected the thickness of the stem. So that's going to be an important factor for managing the harvest of this crop later. So this one was seeded at a normal timing, but here's our early one to compare to. So this is 250 seeds per meter squared. This is a little more typical seeding rate that we do for Salacia. Now we get into some of the later timings here, and these look really interesting. So this was seeded just this first week of June, about a month ago from now. This is our 250 seeds per meter squared. So this is kind of our target best practice rate. And if you look at the plot beside, this is our really high seeding rate. You can see we got a lot better coverage. I mean, hemp seed's expensive, but in terms of management practices, this is a great looking stand. It's going to choke out some of this volunteer canola a whole lot better. And then you can compare that to some of this. This is the lower seeding rate, only 100 seeds per meter squared. I think these plants are going to branch out quite a bit, potentially a lot more difficult to manage at harvest time, and probably some secondary shoots and stuff coming off here. Something else interesting I found, we've just kind of, you can see all these little white stakes in the plots. We've been doing counts to determine the densities on all the plots here, and we're going to come back in the fall when we do our biomass sampling, and we're going to take a count again, and that's because hemp is a self-thinning crop. So here's our normal seed timing. So this was seeded right around May long weekend, but we've got 400 seeds per meter squared in this plot. And if I come in here, you can actually see there's a couple cool plants. So I mean, here's an example. Here and here, some hemp plants that probably aren't going to make it. You can see these big guys towering over them already. So chances are when we come back in and do our counts and biomass later on, this is just going to die off. And so we'll end up with a lot thinner stand. And that's one thing we found pretty interesting in our last study, is we could jack the rates quite a bit with hemp, but it kind of plateaus at how many plots it'll actually let you grow. So if we keep going here, we'll move into the Finola, and there's some really interesting things going on between the Finola and the Salacia. Now, you probably wouldn't believe me, but 2 weeks ago, I think the Salacia was actually shorter than the Finola. So our early Finola crops were taller a couple weeks ago, but they've kind of stopped growing in height, and this Salacia just started picking up, and I expect it to probably be here by the end of next week. So getting into our Finola, you can see we've got this is our female plant and our male plants. This is a normal seed timing, so about May long weekend we seeded this. This one happens to be the lower seed rate, but you can see on here, the flowers, the male flowers and the pollen's not quite coming off on this kind of normal timing. Flowers just starting to open, a couple open flowers, but not quite starting the pollination phase. If we get into the early seeded ones, this is our early timing, so if you give them a shake, kind of bang away, you'll see the pollen dust. If I find a good one here. You see that? You kind of give them a shake and you see all the dust float away. Not as busy with the bees yet as I'd expect. Normally about this point in time, you can't even get close to the crop without hearing a buzzing sound. The buzzing you hear right now is the mowers in the background between the other plots, but that's kind of the background sound we're normally getting from all the bees buzzing around in here. So just to maybe take one closer look at this finola. So this is an early 400 seeds per meter squared, and this is a normal 400 seeds per meter squared. So you can see we've grown up just that little bit more in this flowering and maturity. And I expect, yeah, in here too, there'll probably be quite a bit more self-thinning in some of these heavier seeded plots. You can already see actually this is a good shot here. There's a lot seeded down in here that are probably gonna get choked out. They're like really, really tiny, spindly little stems coming up where we had a bunch of seed, and you know, these are the big ones that are gonna make it through. So yeah, that's about all I got to say for this. It's a really, really great looking trial so far. So just have to see how she goes, and you know, excited to get in and start harvesting some of it.